Happy Pride Month! Being queer is natural, and today I'm gonna talk about all of it. The science, the history, the lies, the truth that nature has been screaming at us for years. And this video is for everyone. Let's start with the oldest record we have, nature itself. Over 1,500 plus animal species have documented same-sex behavior, observed, published science. Our closest relatives alongside chimpanzees. Bonobos. Same-sex behavior is constant, used for bonding, conflict resolution, comfort, and joy. For them, sexuality is a social glue. Penguins. Male penguin couples bond, build nests, and raise adopted eggs together. Roy and Seal at New York Central Park Zoo did exactly this, hatching and raising a chick named Tango. The children's book, Ain't Tango Makes Three, was written about them. It became one of the most banned books in American schools. So nature made the family, and humans banned the book. Male lions form deep affectionate bonds. Same-sex mounting is regularly observed for bonding, dominance, and affection. The pride literally depends on male cooperation and closeness. Among the most sexually fluid animals on Earth, dolphins. Male bottlenose dolphins engage with other males throughout their entire lives, forming long-term pair bonds while also reproducing. Studies found that in observed interactions, roughly 90% of sexual mounting in giraffes' behavior was male on male. Does it mean that 90% of giraffes are gay? Not exactly, but it means same-sex behavior is dominant in their interactions, for bonding, dominance, and attraction combined. The nuance matters, but the conclusion is the same, it's constant and natural. Female albatross pairs on Oahu Island raise chicks together successfully. Up to 31% of pairs at one colony were female-female. And they were actually thriving. Young male elephants form intensely affectionate same-sex bonds, mounting, touching, and partnering for years. Bisons, swans, bats, beetles, salmon, dragonflies, every branch of animal kingdom, every continent, every ecosystem. Nature has been telling us this story for millions of years, and we just kept burning the pages. And it's not just sexual orientation. Nature also has a lot to say about gender. All clownfish are born male. The dominant fish in the group becomes female. If she dies, the next dominant male transitions. Gender, biologically, naturally, is fluid for them. Female spotted hyenas have intersex anatomy, elongated genitalia that mirrors male anatomy, and they give birth through it. Even multiple fish species change sex, some multiple times based on the environment, social hierarchy, and need. Many plants are simultaneously male and female. Nature's message is consistent. Variation is not a mistake, variation is the strategy. Diversity is how life survives. Now let's talk about us, humans. Orientation is not really a choice, and I have evidence for you. The fraternal birth order effect. One of the most replicated findings in sexual orientation research, the more older brothers a man has, the statistically higher the chance he is gay. This is linked to a maternal immune response during pregnancy that influences fetal brain development. It happens before birth, before language, before culture, before anyone could choose anything. Prenatal hormones. Hormone exposure in the womb shapes brain structure and neural development in ways linked to sexual orientation. This is biological, prenatal, and completely outside anyone's control. Twin studies consistently show that identical twins are more likely to share sexual orientation than fraternal twins, pointing to a genetic component. No single gay gene exists, but orientation is influenced by a complex network of genes. The same genes linked to same-sex attraction in men appear to increase fertility in female relatives. meaning evolution kept these genes because they're advantageous overall. The sheep studies. About 8% of male rams exclusively prefer other males, even with receptive females present, even with no social pressure. This preference is linked to differences in a specific brain region, the hypothalamus. It's neurological, it's real, and it matches what we find in humans. Nobody chooses to be gay under threat of death, under threat of family rejection, under threat of imprisonment, under threat of conversion therapy. If it was a choice, it would have been chosen a way long time ago. And it wasn't, because it can't be. We need to talk about the bisexuality because this is the most erased identity in the conversation and it's actually the most common in nature. I relate to it. Most animals that exhibit same-sex behavior are what we would call bisexual or fluid. They engage with both same and opposite sex throughout their lives. Pure exclusive homosexuality is actually less common than fluidity across species. In humans, studies consistently find that bisexual people outnumber gay and lesbian people combined. Yet, bisexual people face erasure from both straight and gay communities. We're told that we're confused, going through a phase, or secretly gay or straight. Bisexual people have higher rates of anxiety, depression, and suicide than both straight and gay people, largely due to the double rejection. Being bisexual is not halfway, it's not a phase, it's complete, whole, valid identity, and nature normalized it way before humans complicated it. Let's bring some light to sexual fluidity. Orientation shifting or expanding over a lifetime, it's also real and documented. Dr. Lisa Diamond's 10-year-long study found that women especially showed significant fluidity in attraction over time. Fluidity isn't instability, it's humanity. This video would be incomplete without saying every letter out loud. Lesbian women have existed in every culture throughout history, often invisible because women's lives were less documented but always present. Sappho wrote love poetry to women in 600 BC. History tried to erase her, but it couldn't. Gay men have faced the most visible persecution and built some of the most resilient, creative, generous communities the world has ever seen. The AIDS crisis killed hundreds of thousands while governments looked away. The gay community organized, fought, grieved, and survived. That's not weakness. That is extraordinary human strength. Trans identity is not new. It's not a trend. Two-spirit people were honored in over 150 indigenous North American tribes. Ancient Rome, ancient Egypt, Polynesian cultures, literally every era, every continent has recognized gender diversity. Modern science confirms gender dysphoria is real, documented, and neurological. Brain imaging studies show trans women's brains resemble cisgender women's brain in key areas before any medical transition. Trans people are not confused. They know exactly who they are. Society is the one that gets confused. Gender-affirming care saves lives. Studies consistently show it reduces suicide risk dramatically. Opposing it isn't protecting children, it's endangering them. If nature can make clownfish change sex, if nature can make hyenas intersex, if nature produces endless variation in every category it touches, why would human gender be the one thing forced into exactly two rigid boxes? It never was. Non-binary identity isn't a new invention. It's a new language for something that has always existed. About 2% of people are born intersex, with chromosomes, hormones, or anatomy that don't fit strict male-female definitions. That's as common as having red hair. Nature routinely produces bodies that blur the binary. Intersex people are not mistakes. They are variation, and they deserve autonomy over their own bodies. Attraction exists on a spectrum. Asexual people experience little or no sexual attraction. Aromantic people experience little or no romantic attraction. And this is valid, this is real. You do not have to want what everyone says you should want. Your way of moving through your own life, with or without desire, is enough. For anyone who isn't sure yet, who is still figuring it out, who doesn't fit any label, you belong here too. You don't need a label to deserve respect. Homophobia and transphobia are relatively recent political inventions, and political inventions can be dismantled. But unfortunately, hate has a body count. LGBTQ+ youth are 4 times more likely to attempt suicide than their straight peers. That number rises to 8 times more likely for LGBTQ+ youth who come from highly rejecting families. Family acceptance is the single biggest protective factor against suicide in LGBTQ+ youth. Not therapy, not medication, acceptance from family. 64+ countries still criminalize homosexuality. In several, the penalty is death. Conversion therapy. Attempting to change orientation or gender identity is condemned by every major medical and psychiatric organization on Earth. It doesn't work. It causes PTSD, depression, and suicide. It is torture with paperwork. Trans people, especially trans women of color, face epidemic levels of violence worldwide. When religious leaders call gay people an abomination, children hear that and some of them don't survive it. When politicians make trans youth a campaign issue, real children go home to families who now doubt them. Words from power become policy, policy becomes survival or death for real people. Even if, hypothetically, being gay was a choice, choosing who to love harms nobody. Religion is a choice. We're protected by law. Diet is a choice, hobby is a choice, career is a choice. We do not imprison people for choices that harm no one. But it's not a choice. And here's the simplest proof. If you're straight, when did you choose it? Point to the moment, the meeting when you decided, and I bet you can't because you didn't choose it either. You just were. Orientation in all its forms is something you discover, not something you decide. 1,500 species, every continent, millions of years. The universe has been making queer life since long before humans had opinions about it. And if you're watching this and you're still figuring it out, you have time, you don't need a label, and I just want to know that you're not broken. If you're watching this and your loved one is queer, they need you. Acceptance from family is literally life-saving. You have that power. And if you're watching this and you've been taught that this is all wrong, I hope today planted some seeds of curiosity. Because science isn't attacking your faith, it's just asking you to look at what nature actually made. And nature made all of this. On purpose. So please, be kind to all kinds. Our choices today shape our tomorrow.